The grand lobby of the Imperial Hotel in New York shimmered beneath crystal chandeliers, its marble floors polished to mirror-like perfection. Wealth walked here in silence, heels clicking like declarations, voices hushed in refined tones of privilege. Behind a sleek reception desk, tension brewed. "I'm sorry, but we can't understand you. Could you try in English?" The receptionist said, her voice tight, her eyes flitting nervously to the forming crowd. The woman she addressed stood immobile, elegant, poised, unreadable. Dressed in a tailored navy suit, she looked every inch a dignitary. But she spoke no English, nor French, nor Mandarin. Only Japanese. Two translators whispered frantically in the background, flushed and flustered. Behind the woman, an assistant in a dark suit typed frenetically on his phone. Still, she said nothing. "Should we call security?" whispered one staff member. "She's not being aggressive," another replied, "but she's refusing to communicate in anything but Japanese." And she booked the presidential suite. Just a few paces away, near the golden luggage carts, Lucia Santos wiped the edge of a glass coffee table. Her gray uniform was designed to blend in. Cleaners weren't meant to be seen, only their absence of dust was. Lucia was 32, her hands calloused by work, but her eyes were ancient. Not in age, but in awareness. In survival, she watched the scene unfold like someone reading a book she had already memorized. Patricia Mendes, the general manager, descended the stairs like a lead in a Broadway production, heels sharp against marble, her crimson lipstick a shield of corporate dominance. She approached the counter with theatrical calm. "I'm the general manager," Patricia declared. "How may we assist you?" Still, the Japanese woman said nothing. Patricia leaned forward, her tone sharpening. "Ma'am, this is America. If you want to be served here, you need to speak English." Lucia felt it then, that subtle shift in the room's air. The energy that dances between humiliation and control. Between silence and suppression. Then the Japanese woman exhaled not a sigh of frustration, but something more ancient, measured, timeless. It echoed through the marble like thunder underwater. "She's not trying to be difficult," her assistant finally said, stepping forward. "She simply prefers to communicate in her native language during formal matters." Patricia laughed loud and dry. "This isn't Tokyo. If she wants towels or champagne, she can point like everyone else. She's holding up the line." And then, without knowing why, Lucia began to walk. She wasn't called. No one asked. But something in the guest's eyes pulled her, something not of status, but of shared silence. Lucia stopped before the guest, bowed slightly, and in fluent Japanese said, "Ohayo gozaimasu, Nakamura-sama. Would you care for tea?" Time froze. Even the faint piano music slipped away. The Japanese woman Nakamura-sama tilted her head slightly, not surprised, but seen. She responded softly in Japanese, and Lucia nodded, guiding her calmly toward the lounge. "She's speaking with her perfectly," the assistant stammered. "A Kyoto accent. Exactly right." Patricia's voice cracked. How do you know Japanese?" Lucia replied gently, "I don't think that matters right now." And it didn't. What mattered was that Lucia, the invisible cleaner, had become the bridge no one else could build. T. And the truth beneath it. In the private lounge, porcelain cups clinked gently. It wasn't just tea. It was ceremony. Silence. Respect. Akeo Nakamura sat with impeccable posture, her damp coat draped neatly beside her chair. "You learn Japanese formally," she said, switching to English. "Kyoto University," Lucia replied. "I was a linguistics professor, 7 years. Specialized in East Asian semiotics and silence." "You wrote your thesis on Kukio Yomu?" Lucia smiled. "The art of reading the air." Akko's eyes glinted approval without saying the word. And, now? Akko asked. You're cleaning? Lucia nodded. Since my wife passed, I needed a job where no one asked about my past. Or my future. Akko was silent a moment. In my country, she said, we're taught that the most powerful person in the room is the one who speaks last. Lucia smiled. Here? It's usually the one who speaks loudest. And that, Akko replied, is why I stopped speaking English in my negotiations. Lucia looked at her not as a CEO, but as a woman defending something delicate beneath her armor. And in that moment, Lucia understood. This was no contract signing. This was a test. A truth-finding mission. You're here, Lucia said quietly, to see who listens before you speak. The fall of Patricia Mendes, Miss Santos, my office, now. Patricia's voice cracked across the marble like a whip, but when Lucia stood to go, Akko gently touched her arm. She is assisting me, Akko said. If Ms. Mendes would like to speak with her, she may wait until we're done. Patricia's jaw tightened. With all due respect, Ms. Nakamura, I am Akiko. Nakamura, Akko interrupted, calm as winter. CEO of Nakamura Technologies. We are considering an $80 million investment in your hotel chain. Patricia nearly fainted. Lucia remained seated, but something in her eyes changed. Not defiance. Power. And it was only just beginning. 7 months. Of storms later that night, Lucia's apartment was quiet but electric. Akko, now dressed casually, poured tea from a thermos. Did she threaten you? Akko asked. Lucia nodded. Not smartly, but publicly. She walked to her cabinet, pulled out a thick folder, and laid it on the table. 7 months, she said. Emails, photos, incident reports, racially biased room assignments, verbal abuse, policies designed to misdirect ethnic clients. I documented it all. Akko flipped through the folder, her expression darkening. Lucia then pulled out her phone. And today she threatened me for helping you. I recorded it. Patricia's voice played. You think you can cry prejudice when you're called out. Akko exhaled. It's not enough to fire her. We have to expose the system. Lucia nodded. I have a plan. Operation. Exposure. The next day, the hotel lobby was a stage. Cameras were hidden. Test guests had arrived. And Patricia, ever the fool, had no idea she was the star of her own downfall. When a Japanese evaluator pretending to be a lost guest approached the front desk, Patricia quickly descended. Too eager, too smug. If you can't speak English, maybe try a hotel that speaks your language, she said loudly. Lucia stepped forward calmly. Ohio gozaimasu, sir. May I help? She solved the issue in under 30 seconds. In perfect Japanese. Patricia exploded. I told you not to do that. You're just a cleaner. A black cleaner, not a translator. The lobby went still. You could hear the cameras click. And then Akko stepped forward. I am Akiko Nakamura, CEO of Nakamura Technologies. We've been recording your behavior for 48 hours. This includes 7 cases of discrimination, 12 of language bias, and 3 civil rights violations, including this one. Patricia paled. You're fired, said the hotel's regional director, who had just arrived. Effective immediately. Lucia handed her the folder of evidence. This is what silence collects. As Patricia was escorted out by the same security she once weaponized, the guests and staff turned not to her but to Lucia, the one they had overlooked, the one they would never forget. 6 months later, Lucia Santos sat in her glass-walled office at Nakamura Technologies HQ. Now Global Director of Corporate Ethics, she had redesigned inclusion frameworks across 43 corporations. Imperial Hotel? Acquired by Nakamura. Its lobby now bears a plaque that reads, "In honor of those who fight daily against prejudice seen or unseen, Patricia never worked in hospitality again. She now sells kitchenware at a discount store." Lucia? She built a legacy. She proved that intelligence, patience, and strategic silence can dismantle the most polished lies. But more than that, she reminded the world, sometimes the quietest person in the room isn't the weakest. She's just waiting for the right moment to speak.